Powered by Riverside FM.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, teachers of all ages, welcome to the Fun Time Super Terrific Happy Hour. Welcome, Jandler.
Welcome, Choey. Hey, hey. Quick side note. I'm gonna do it after we're done talking. Did I tell you I met like a dude from Finland? I think it was last week, right? Did I tell you I met a guy from Finland?
I want to say so.
Yeah. So we're Facebook friends now because of Manchester United and stuff. So I'm gonna sit on my podcast because we're making on side note we're making some stuff here for Manchester United, and he wants to buy like a scarf or whatever, right? So I'm gonna send him another message and be like, "Hey man, do me a favor. Can you play this podcast in Finland so we can say we got Finland listeners, you know?" But dude, how's the day, man? How's the traffic out there?
Traffic's good. I mean, it's nice. It's not horrible right now. In a few weeks, that's going to be a whole different thing.
Oh yeah, I mean because of the break and everything.
The shopping and everything.
Yeah, oh yeah. What did you think? What was the weather like for you this morning? Were you frozen?
It was cold. It was cold. But that's the one thing I don't like about Texas weather when it is cold. Like now,
Uh huh.
time cold because like in the morning I had on a jacket and I put on my gloves because when I'm cold, I don't like when your fingers and your toes are like so cold and you just can't warm up. So I wear gloves. Didn't need the beanie because I was like straight from the car to like the house to the car and from the car to like the building where I work.
Yeah,
But
but
then
70% of your heat, man, comes through your head. Might as well
yeah,
keep it
but
warm.
it was just quick. I mean, so it was like the wind wasn't blowing. But the one thing that sucked is just the fact that like by lunchtime, like you didn't need the jacket, I didn't need the gloves. So it's like these are those days where you're like you show up to work bundled up like crazy, and you could leave work in like a t-shirt and flip flops.
Yeah, and then well, I know because we did dismissal and it was hot, and I had my hoodie. I had a hoodie and a light and a jacket on this morning because when I left, it was like 34 degrees when I went to school, 34, 37, something like that. Um, but then it was hot, and then when I left school to come home, it was like 5, and it had chilled off. Like it wasn't cold, but I was like, oh, I gotta put my hoodie back on because the wind's blowing, and it's probably like about 60 degrees or something. It's like it's not hot anymore, dude. We had a Veterans Day parade outside. We've talked about this before. Like, you know how it's hot and these kids will wear like these big black hoodies or whatever, right? When it's 100 plus degrees outside. Well, sure enough, it's cold this morning. Heck, there were kids that showed up with like no jacket at all or like this very thin thing, right? And I'm just like, I ever actually emailed all the admin. I was like, you sure we're doing the thing outside? I was like, these kids don't have jackets. Like, you're gonna,
And it's
it's gonna
because those
that
are the
warm.
same kids
It was
that have
like
jackets on.
almost 50 by then.
Yeah, those are the same kids that have the jackets on when it's hot, but then when it's cold and they're always like the same thing. I'm good. I'm not cold. And you're like, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah,
Like you're gonna get
yeah.
pneumonia.
So they're like shaking. They're like teeth are chatting. I'm good. I'm good. I'm fine.
Boogers
Don't worry about me.
like boogers like on Dumb and Dumber, like frosted on their face. I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. Just pour some hot water on me. It'll be fine. So, so that would even popping into our headlines, man, or our holidays. So
Here are today's effing holidays.
here quickly on the holidays, right? This is when you called. I was in the process of looking up. Did you know November 14th is National Pickle Day? That's right. It's a big deal, Choey. Get ready to celebrate National Pickle Day with all your favorite pickled snacks, from cucumbers to peppers and more. Thanks, bro. I love it. Yeah, and it's also National American Teddy Bear Day. Show
What?
your love and appreciation on National American Teddy Bear Day by snuggling up with cozy teddy bear and creating special memories. I don't know about you. I had teddy bear, but Snoopy was always my thing. I was there like that was my Ted. Like the movie. Even though he is a bear, but that was like my Ted.
I
Did
I
you go
had a
anywhere
teddy
without
bear, but
Snoopy?
I
Did you
didn't
have
really
a teddy bear
sleep
or
with
what?
it. Yeah, I had a teddy bear. I just didn't really
Did you have
sleep
a
with
Did you have a
it.
Linus blanket?
No, no blanket, no blanket, sir.
Oh man, no, neither did I. Neither did I. I was just asking.
And
Let's check
you
him.
know, it was
I
like nice and fluffy, worn out in the corner.
yeah yeah exactly. Sucked it with my thumb. Nope. Not even. Just kidding.
It's time for this week's edition of Choey and Jandler's headlines. Yay! Hooray!
We were talking about the weather. Remember last year, Choey and Jandler would try and give you the weather 3 days in advance, and he'd be like, "What?" Now we're just complaining when it gets chilly. Um, my first headline, sir, is I know this has happened in the past, but I feel like this year it's happening a lot more. These kids keep sharpening pencils on both ends, and I'm just like, what's with this need and necessity for these kids to try and puncture along, man? You know?
I don't even understand that. Like, what's because you have to take the eraser off in order to do that.
I think what they do is that too. I think break it, and then like sometimes kids just break like, oh, you break one pencil in half, now you can sharpen two on both sides. It's like a two for. But it's just
Then
now they're doing it with my colored pencils, and I'm just like, oh,
be like, I'm gonna break another pencil, I'm gonna break something else.
exactly. Often you're something else, right?
Like, make sure to break off some of those erasers in some places you don't want.
Okay. So for those that are interested, Choey's got a mobile studio going on right now. He got a hotspot laptop, mic set up, as he's driving. People probably like he's just talking to himself at these lights or whatever on the highway, just yelling. What the?
You know, I'm like,
So like,
I'm reporting the traffic conditions to no one right now.
you're like, I'm a storm chaser, sir. It's calm outside. Well, that's why I'm here, just in case.
Well, you've heard of twisters, right? This is called clearers.
Yeah,
There's nothing going
yeah,
on. I'm a
exactly.
clearer.
It, and what are they like? Silent but deadly, like invisible but could still kill you, right?
Oh, you have no
Hey,
idea. Twister's gonna come.
you, dude. So my second headline I actually was thinking about you, and that we had a training yesterday, professional development day. Now it was I I learned some stuff, but it's one of those trainings. I don't know whose bright idea it was, but they allowed us to be in our own room solo instead of like having to be like together. And so like I got to train it on one window, and I'm doing other stuff, and I wasn't the only one. We were all like doing stuff. But so we learned this thing called it's called PAX, PAX. It's a behavior management program, and honestly, like it sounds cool. It's a work in progress, but it's not anything different than what I've heard previously. You know, it's like instead of using like a bell, there's like a harmonica we're gonna get, and we like and we like just kind of what do I say, like play the harmonica, and then that gets supposed to get the kids' attention. But I was practicing it today, and we have some games. If they're doing like you set a timer, and they have these things called how we made up Flipper Wump, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess you said yeah. They made up a word called spleem. That's supposed to be like when they're messing up, like spleem, SPLEEM. So like, oh, I see a spleem. Somebody's up talking. Oh, there's another spleem. Like you don't call it out. I'm not like Choey. Get your finger out of your nose. I'm like, oh, someone's picking their boogers. That's a spleen, type thing. And then like you're trying to teach them like in the get go. We're trying to make it easy for them to win, so we can play like a little game. Like today, I was doing we had a little 1 minute Cupid shuffle dance. We did a little 1 minute what do you call it, drum roll. But we also did a 1 minute rock paper scissors contest. So like almost like little icebreakers in a way. But they always teaching you something, and you're like, well, I already know this. What's new about this? But,
I think with the harmonica, you should learn to play it like a blues musician. So you'd be like,
like my dad or something, or like I'm play it like I'm in jail, I'm old time prison. Yeah.
They're like they're forced to almost listen because you're over here. On the day I could see you. And then
just crying to myself. Just crying to myself as I'm playing on the blues guitar. Yeah, exactly.
Crying to
Don't,
yourself.
don't leave Mr. Bing alone. He's busy right now. um, but dude, I think I've said this before. But if kids, especially third graders, could be courtroom, if third grade stories were in a courtroom, like if you were like if they were a defense attorney, dude, some of the stuff they say just kind of you're like, what? Like, how do you think that's logical? You know, it's like there's like I love the ones where they're just like, oh, they made me do it. They made you go over there and hit them. It's not my fault. You know, it's just
Pride
crazy, man.
works. Pride works at home, man. Isn't a good excuse at home.
Yeah, they're like, well, if I just say this, or like, there's always someone that's so like one of the girl's parents had messaged and said that she thought her daughter's being bullied, right? So me and another teacher we try to get to the bottom of it today during recess, and come to find out it was really like a misunderstanding, and then they both were like both sets of groups were kind of like hands on and like pulling and yanking and pushing. Supposedly there was some bad words said, but then I called this one of the girl whose mom had said, I was like, hey, come over here real quick. I was talking to her on the side. I was like, do you still think you're being bullied? She's like, yeah. And I was like, well, what makes you think you're bullied? She's like, oh, when they called me those names. And I was like, was that just that one time or other time? She was like, no, it was just that day. I was like, well, yeah, that's not really bullying. But I was like, they do it again. Yell at me and the other teachers know. At least let one of us know, right? Speaking of letting somebody know, hey, give me the herd alert sound real quick.
Herd alert.
Yeah, so I got a message yesterday from my parents. Apparently, one of my students had gotten poked with a pencil, and somehow the lead kind of broke off in his cheek. And I guess it happened Friday, and she didn't know because he was with dad and parents were divorced. And so she messaged me, and she's just like, "How come I wasn't notified?" And I was like, "Man, I had no idea it even happened, right?" But so I talked to that kid today. I was like, "Why did you let anybody know?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Why not?" He's like, "Well, I don't know. I didn't think about it. It wasn't bothering me." And I was
Yeah,
like, "Dude,"
about it.
I was like, "You could get me in trouble, man." It's like,
How would you? How, I don't know. Like, that's a story I want to hear. Like the real truth. Like, how do you get poked in the face with a pencil? The lead breaks off in your cheek, and you just don't think about telling anybody. That kid's
he's
like
like,
he's like a future
he,
MMA kid right there.
he's like, "I'll just walk it off, right?" No biggie, no
I'll
biggie.
go chew it off. I'll go get some food and chew it off.
Yeah, and it's like, but no, like, and then the mom. I mean, I get what the mom's point of view was because she's like, you can get lead poisoning and stuff like that. She's like, I take it
Oh,
really seriously or whatever, right? Um,
it's all graphite now. Like, back when like pencil lead was actually lead, yeah, maybe, but not anymore.
yeah,
It's
I mean,
graphite.
you're true, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe mom was worried about infection type stuff as well, but I was like, yeah, I get that, but if I didn't know anything about it, it's kind of hard for me to tell you. I talked to two of my other teachers in our little I want to keep wanting to call it a trifecta. We call it a triad. And one of them was like, "What does mom want us to do?" I was like, she's like, the nurse can't do anything. I was like, I know, but she just wanted to be notified. And so I told him to kind of make sure he lets one of us know. So just be on the lookout, the type thing. You know what sucks about that as I'm getting ready to switch it over, but when you're told to be on the lookout for, how many things teachers are on the lookouts for? It's like I gotta be on the lookout for this. Who knows if we're gonna remember? It's like I got so many things going through my head, but hey, before we go to break, I want to do an Ask a Principal segment, okay? But in unorthodox Choey and Jandler fashion, this is going to be a serious question, you know? I want you got a PhD. You can help people in restaurants, right? You can save them. Now, what's your take on What's your take on why teachers are getting out of their profession so much? Like what would you say?
Why teachers are
Because we,
getting out of the profession?
yeah, why do you think teachers are like leaving and being like, I can't take it
Burnout.
anymore?
You hit you hit like a portion of it right now. Like back in the day when you and we're 40, we're in our 40s, so we're not like ancient, not young. But when we were like in elementary or middle school, like you had to a certain way. You did a certain thing. If you didn't, there were consequences for it. Everybody understood. Like nobody's raising little butthole kids. We're not educating butthole kids. But now and especially like because I deal with it now, is seeing it from the higher ed perspective more so too. And it opened up a whole new different perspective for me, because you get these students with like all these accommodations and modifications in their instructional delivery, and then they get to college and they think that, hey, like this is what's supposed to happen too, and they don't seem to realize like you're on your own in college. Like it's on you to learn it, but like there's so much set up now to where we put so much support to try to make sure nobody fails where they're successful. If they're not successful, how do we get them to be successful? And it's stressful because like there gets to be a point where logically you think like it's not the teacher's fault that the kid's failing. Like, and there are crap teachers out there that don't do a good job, and therefore like they kind of cause problems for everybody else. But then you have teachers that pour in 50, 60 hours a week plus, trying to get stuff ready for students, do above and beyond, because that's the expectation now, is that you do above and beyond. You do these amazing things in the classroom, you do this, you do that, because if you don't, you're not a good teacher. And then what do you get for that? And I'm not saying you have to get like some sort of huge crazy reward, but it's like, well, what do you, salaries now are starting off better, but it's not like your salaries are exponentially increasing. Like most school districts top out somewhere in the 70s, which is a good salary.
Yeah, and maybe extra if you get TIA money, but yeah.
But essentially, like you look at the fact that like we're throwing the responsibility on you as a teacher and saying, hey, you're not doing your job because not all your kids are passing. Well, if you have a student that they're like, maybe they're not showing up to class, or when they are showing up to class, they're acting like buttholes and they're not really doing the class the way they should be, kind of thing. Like, you sit there and you think about the fact that like there's a lot of other factors that kind of contribute to the fact that it's not the teacher's fault. They can only do so much. They can't fill out the work for them. They can't do all this other stuff for them. But when you come back and say, well, all your kids aren't doing this or all your kids aren't doing that, it's like, well, at some point, how about I just go and take my skills someplace else where I don't have to do.
And people think we're crazy, or people think we're like, well, it's easy. You get summers and Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff off, which is just right around the corner. I was like, yeah, we do a lot. We do a lot too. You don't realize it. And there's something like you. I really should talk about it. I mean, I don't want to, but it's in the news. Something else happened in my school today. It's like, yeah, people. I was talking to my stepmom earlier, and I told her every time I talk to her, unfortunately, my dad passed away a few years ago, but I'm always like, you and Pops, y'all retired at a good time. You didn't have to deal with a lot of this craziness, right? Dude, I was telling her, a lot of stuff I have to do with like restraining kids or worry about like these fights breaking out from kids on the spectrum, and they're like, I didn't have to worry about that like a decade ago. But now, like I was telling her, I was like, man, now it's the norm. It's all a lot of stuff that I like have to like intervene with and restrain or kind of prevent. She's like, that's insane. I was like, it is, but I was like, I'm just kind of used to it now,
It's just there's too much thrown on. In my opinion, there's too much thrown on teachers. The expectations are all there that you do 15,000 things instead of just teach. You're doing all this other stuff on top of that. Whereas you think about like the parent that's dropping the student off with you to get taught, they go to do work and do one thing. They do two things. They do whatever they're supposed to do, and then they go home. And nobody bothers them on the weekends. Nobody expects them to do all this other stuff. And truth be told, I don't think there's a lot of programs out there that tells teachers this is all the other stuff that you're going to do on top of teaching. So I think that's where that comes from.
It sounds bad here, but me and my stepmom were talking. I got one of my nieces. She wants to be a teacher, a kinder teacher, and I told my stepmom, I was like, part of me kind of wants to try and talk her out of it. Like, you sure? You serious? You want to deal with this? Like,
Like, don't ever say that.
When we do like career days and they have like teachers in there, or sometimes like kids are like, hey, kids will be like, I want to be a teacher when I grew up, Mr. Bing, and I'm like, I don't say it. I guess like that's cool, but in my head I'm like, really? You sure about that? Don't do it. I mean, if you like kids, it's awesome, but it's a lot more stress than people realize. It's not like I don't want to like hate on the job, but like you just got to understand. Like I got the last thing I do here before we go to our break. I do remember telling my mom one time, I was just like, if teaching was just like 90% of my job, okay, right? But teaching's like maybe 50%, right? 50 to 60, maybe like 51, because I feel like it's more than half of it is teaching. But there's so many other things I got to do, Now I got to be like a pseudo counselor. I got to be like a nurse. I got to be a security guard. I got to be, like. There's just like so many things that I gotta worry about, that I'm just like, oh, I would just love to teach. Not me having to be like a lesson planner, like a curriculum writer type thing. It's just like, my gosh, problem solved all the time. Hey, I'll leave you on this note though, because I did. What are your thoughts of this? Ask a principal into the Ask a Principal segment. The phrase "use your common sense" that we heard all the time when we grew up. You can't really use that now. Or you can,
Yeah,
it's just people's common sense isn't really that common, I'm just saying.
I try to, and I say it every once in a while still, and I try to catch myself when I say like that's it. Like you have to have logical reasoning. It kind of sounds more higher level, even though it's kind of the same thing. So people don't think they have it because they don't.
So Choey, you've turned PC is what you're telling me, huh?
No, not at all. Only when I'm trying to be serious.
You're like, no effing way.
Not at all.
No,
what the
oh. Yeah, exactly. All right, dude, I'm going to roll it in the break unless you got something you want to add. Is there anything you want to pop in?
No, I think that's good. Let's take us to break.
All right. Well, whenever I hit the button.
We say prost, Gumby, cheers mate, and cheers mate again, or simply cheers. Sometimes it's all toss Santa, other times it's cheers up, you effing hoser, you effing hoser. We also say sawday, salute saluti, or tagay, skull, let's all say, nice to rove ya, in the Russian way. In Vietnam we shout out yo, walugi wawa makes South Africa glow. In Portugal, it's a solid soul, in Budmo, Ukraine's here to stay. Shout out Sean, then back to the bar till the liquor's gone. For Jamaica, it's allowed you mourn. No matter the place, we drink till dawn. In India, we say cheers, or body hole. Hungary says he just did it, don't go too slow. New Caledonia joins in with a la vote, let it flow. In Taiwan, we shout out Ganbei, and Singapore says Yam Sing. Oh, the way.
Do a little lighter in the sky.
I like how you raised the roof there, right?
Hey, so I got.
Hi there, I'm here to help Choey and Jandler to read an advertisement for BuyBlackett.com. Please shop BuyBlackett.com. Are you looking for unique gifts at unbeatable prices? Then look no further. BuyBlackett.com has quality merchandise for everyone on your list, from gifts for cat and dog lovers to American fans, beer enthusiasts, and even Jesus lovers. As for teachers, we didn't forget about you. Please don't miss our funny attire to brighten up your classroom. So bring a smile to your loved ones' faces and shop BuyBlackett.com today. Tell them Choey and Jandler sent you.
Hi there, Ryan Reynolds here on behalf of my friends Choey and Jandler. You may know me from movies where I either save the world or ruin Thanksgiving. But today, folks, I'm not here to sell you cologne, crypto, or questionable NFTs. I'm actually here to tell you about Fish.audio. This isn't really me talking right now. This is my voice, made by Fish.audio, which frankly is terrifying. It sounds exactly like me, and trust me, I've heard my voice in 87 trailers. This is better. Whether you're a podcaster with a potato microphone, a game developer building an army of space dolphins, or just lonely and want a perfect Morgan Freeman to read your grocery list out loud to you, Fish.audio has you covered. Fish.audio is easily one of the best voice generation platforms I have ever used, which is saying something, because I've done voiceover for a toothpaste brand in 4 languages I don't even speak. And speaking of that, Fish.audio is cross-lingual, which means it supports 13 different languages. Their amazing program also allows you to clone voices. Fish.audio make your voice legendary, or at least make my voice say weird things. I legally can't stop you either way.
Right, back from break, Joseph.
All right.
I'm still loving the song. Hey, speaking of songs, right? So I messaged my friend. I told you I met a dude from Finland a couple weeks ago, and I sent him the podcast. I was like, "Hey, can you listen to our podcast so we can claim Finland?" And then I was like, "If you know any teachers that might want to guest, like send them our way or whatever." So we did, and dude, we got Finland now. So we're up to 38 nations. I was googling it, like depending how you want to look at it, right? There's 206 recognized national teams for the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
38 divided by 206. That's 18.4% of the world, right? If we do it that way. Or if we just go off the UN nations, which is 193, we're at 19.6%. Not really 19.7% of the world. So, and we've got all of Scandinavia.
Either way, we're closing in almost
ships.
like a fifth of the world. Almost a fifth
Exactly,
of the world.
yeah. Exactly. Now, I'll just start reaching out to other people. Like, hey, help Choey and Jandler get a fifth.
It's like,
right? That's the
we're
next
almost
campaign, right?
we're almost touching a fifth of the world with our message of nothingness.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But at least people listen to it and they just say, dumb Americans, But keep coming back. Keep coming back. So like if these are the guys that represent that country, we don't gotta worry about them. They're not taking our jobs anytime soon.
Maybe we're looking at this whole like people hear our message and they're like, they're not a threat. We don't need to invade them and kill them after all. And we're saving America.
I got you. So yeah, we're trying to lower people's standards against us. You're right. But yeah, just let them. They'll kill themselves or whatever accidentally.
Exactly.
Hey, in the spirit of our me asking you a serious question, asking the principal a serious question, I'm about to roll on over to me asking a Jandler type question. But I do want to let the audience know that I tried to come up with a champion choice for you, but you're just not that upset anymore, man. You're just like you're mellowed out.
Right now.
People are gonna be upset. They're gonna be disappointed. Yeah. But no. So anyway, dude, I obviously I texted you today, and I was like, hey, you want to do this or this dream? And then I was like, oh wait, but I can't remember that dream. Well, I kind of remembered some of it now, but I don't think that's as important. I think you can get a load of this one, right? So this happened Friday night, Saturday morning. So I had a dream, and it's one of those dreams. I know a lot of dreams feel like this, where you're actually like there. Like, this is more like a realistic dream in a way. But apparently, I was sitting next to Victor Wembanyama from our San Antonio Spurs, and I was talking to him about like world sports, like international football, or as we Americans call soccer. I was talking to him about cricket, because like I watched a lot of these sports, and dude, he was like giving me high fives. So it seemed so awesome. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, I didn't meet Wemby. That's sad. I thought he thought I was cool because I knew these sports. Like I said, then it was like, oh, bummer. How would you interpret that, Dr. Cho?
You're going to get matching jerseys, Wemby and Bingy.
Yeah, exactly. Wemby and Bingy.
That's a weird... I don't know. That's a weird... I feel like perhaps maybe you're just not feeling like you're getting recognition from the right people, and therefore you're seeking it out
Is that what it is?
from celebrities,
from
I
non-Americans?
guess. I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Maybe you feel as though you're changing over. Not I'm not gonna say transitioning, but you're changing your view from more of an American view to more of like a worldly view, and therefore embracing who might very well be like a somewhat global icon at this point, given the fact that he's a WNBA star.
Dude, he's not WNBA. He's in the NBA. Get it right, sir.
Oh, did I say WNBA? My bad.
He's in the dub. He's in the NBA. Yeah. You're like, what'd I say? And I was like, it's not the W. I hope he's globally known because he's known everywhere in France. Yeah. He's like, well, I was gonna hang out with Jandler until Choey. He's like, oh, hey, I think I remember some of the dream I was thinking about this morning, right? So this happened last night, and you listen to the ESPN local sports, right? Like the one that's like with it's Joe Reinego and Jason Minix. Did you listen to that one? Like it's around like 3 or 4 o'clock or something. Actually met Joe wasn't there, but a couple years ago on spring break we went to Twin Peaks and they were actually like broadcasting there. So I actually met Jason Minix, right?
Oh, cool.
Cool dude, Navy guy. Didn't look anything like he sounded, right? But anyway, in the dream, Jason and Joe are there, and it's like me and you, and we're like his truck, right? And we're talking sports with these guys, and I like you're a Cowboy fan. I'm just talking sports with him, just asking him questions. And I think one of the questions I do remember asking, I was like, how do y'all suck it up and watch these sports? Because they know we only care about people like A&M and UT here and UTSA as the colleges, maybe Houston, and then the Cowboys and the Texans, for football, and then our baseball teams are the Rangers and Astros. But basically, I was like, how do y'all suck it up and watch these games when the teams suck, right? I do remember asking that. But anyway, like they were all kind of laughing, or y'all were laughing at me, and we're driving in his truck, so it's like we're doing like this mobile conversation hangout. And next thing I know, we're like at some recycling plant with the truck, and we like park on it, and like at this like 180 degree or 90 degree angle or point, we're trying to like lock into this conveyor belt. It was really weird, man. It's just like, and I remember being like, y'all are, well, not y'all, because you weren't the one. Like it's like we were doing a ride along with them, and I was having to like do work, with heights and stuff, and I was really freaked out. But like, dude, that was kind of one of those ones, and maybe you'll agree that I feel like it was like, was Jandler on acid during this dream or something? It was like it was just far out there, bro.
Drugs, very much. Like,
yeah.
What did you snort or inject before you went to bed?
That's your answer to everything. Well,
Is that, like,
you're like, if the shoe fits, right?
If anybody's heard like seasons 2 and 3 of us, they probably thought we were, because we're always all.
Yeah. It's like, and that kind of reminds me of the pop culture reference. The early Seinfeld episode where they thought Jerry's money guy was on drugs because he was always sniffing, and it ended up being like Kramer's sweater. I think that dude was taking drugs, but they were just always like, yeah. So, all right. So that was my asking a principal segment there. Now moving on. This is gonna be a little tougher for you. You're gonna have to just listen to me. We're gonna play a little Joking with Jans game, sir.
All right.
So.
All right, everybody. Come on down to Joking with Jans. That's right, here's a game show you can play at home and try and test your knowledge and see how many more you get correct than incorrect. So stick around and have fun and laugh listening to Joking with Jans.
Oh, that whole sound.
Can I say that I love the fact
I'll
that
add
you
it.
have your own?
Oh, exactly. Go ahead, clown on it, man. I think that came up with that way back in season 1, and I remember you said, "Dude, that was awesome," right? Because I was like goofing around, and you're like, "It's awesome." I had to be my own. I can't remember that guy's name from Price is Right. That would call him down. Like it's like Merv something or whatever, but I'll think of it later. Now I want to look it up. All right, so I've actually had, this is a link I've had for a while, right? like a game I was gonna play. It's kind of like I really was trying to figure out as we were going on break. I was like, how are we gonna quote unquote play this, right? So this article is titled "The 10 Hilarious Differences Between New Teachers and Experienced Teachers," right? And so, like, I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read what new teachers would do in certain situations, and you tell me if you remember doing that when you were a newbie, and then I'll read about what the experienced teachers actually do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Instead of it being like, hey, drink if this sounds like you or whatever, which people at home can do, right? All right, classroom management. Tell me if this sounds like young Joseph. You possess a whole arsenal of teacher pay teacher attention getters, printed on brightly colored cardstock, laminated and hole punched on a ring. So when the class gets out of control, you frantically flip through it, hoping that maybe hocus pocus, everybody focus will work better than yelling, yakety yak, don't talk back. Did you ever do something like that?
Yeah, because they go through and like they teach you in class that this is what's gonna work, and then when it doesn't, you're like, what? I remember one class because I was being a PE teacher.
Yeah.
And you know the one where they're like stand there with a face very quietly as if you're irritated, and they'll quiet down.
Yeah.
You're 15 minutes later, there was nobody stopping, and I was like, this is ridiculous. This doesn't work. So I was like, go to the whistle.
Yeah. I will say I have a lot of attention getters, but I don't like to print a lot of stuff on colored cardstock because that's just not me. That's a lot of work, you know? But I'm like halfway there. By the way, they say experienced teachers do not prescribe acute attention grabber movement because their death glare, like you said, has been working since 2007. So the glare is it. All right, lesson planning. Newbies dedicate every waking hour to lesson planning in their Aaron Condren planner because when you are a new teacher, lesson planning is life and the planner is just plain fun to write in. Every planning session at school is studiously used to the fullest potential with standards-based backward planning informed by student assessments.
Yeah.
Was that Mr. Triviani before he became the doctor?
Yeah, because they were like, you have to script out everything. You should know what everything you're going to do every minute. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. And you come from college, you're like ingrained. I got to do this, I got to do that. And then the experienced teacher's like, why are you writing down? You're like 11:05, start talking. 10, pick up pencils.
Today we're doing fractions.
What do you do?
There's the lesson plan.
Yeah, experienced teachers lesson plan on the couch with a glass of wine or nice, cool PBR. Yeah, and let's be real. Grade level meetings are for swapping recipes and complaining about their latest busy work. They won't be doing it. They know their lessons are standards based and are informed by their students' assessment because we all know standards and curriculum by heart if you've been doing it for a while. Well, I don't know by heart, but you do get a good idea of it, right? Especially if you're in the same grade level for a while. All right, so this next one, I read the headline, I was like, what? So this is called distance teaching, right? Not like when we were online. What this means is new teachers create a full-on replica of a wall in their classroom. It has cute motivational art, pom-poms for flair, and a little magnetic whiteboard to teach on, right? Does that sound like something you did, Coach?
I was like, no, I didn't do that one.
Yeah. Does it count? Like, I have to create word walls and stuff. I hope that doesn't count. I'm told to do that, you know? But I think you and I are going to agree with this experienced teacher take. We refuse to take on the expense or effort of building a makeshift classroom anywhere, right? Like extra, you know? It's like, why do extra? Students can get a view of their dusty china cabinet or the wall. That's fine enough for us, right? We just do our best to be peppy and fun when we use Google Slides or now Canva. This Google Slides, man, this article's gonna be old. We still use Google Slides, but come on now, man. You gotta cuten it up a little bit, right? Staff meetings, you gotta think, I guess, you got two hats to wear here, right? You're a teacher and admin. New teachers show up to meetings with a personalized hybrid notebook, clipboard, and matching flare pens to write down every single word the principal utters, using an elaborate color coding system. They sit up, they're there early, they're in front, they're alert, and they're ready to absorb all the things. Was that you in the beginning?
Yeah, because I was told that, like, we're not going to, if you have a meeting, it's obviously important. Little was that.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Dude, that, you know, as I was reading that, it reminded me of Question Girl from UTSA. Like that would be her, you know. Where
Almost
we
out.
dude, the first sentence of this experience teachers made me laugh because this is me now. Show up to meetings empty-handed. If it's necessary to write down something, they grab an expo marker out of their pocket, and write it down on a greasy donut napkin. They somehow master the inexplicable art of sleeping with their eyes open, with facial expression that screams, "This could have been an email." I just laughed at the like I said the first sentence. I show up empty-handed so many times because I'm like, do I need anything? And then I show up and I'm like, oh crap, right? Did you? I'll kind of skip through some of these. Like, did you buy classroom supplies and decor, I should say? Like
Yeah,
Lakeshore,
'cause
IKEA, Home Goods.
most of my stuff was in the gym, so like it was so hot, humid all the time, it would peel off the wall.
Got you. For open house and parent-teacher conferences, you spent hours after contract time leading up to open house, making meet the teacher newsletters, theme signs and posters. Right, give out goodie bags for students. Right. Have take-home stuff.
I would see,
Was that you?
I would see teachers do that, and I'd be like, why are you doing all that? Like, yes, they do.
This kind of reminded me 2 years ago, one of my teachers on her new, like, so we're always required to have a parent-teacher conference with everybody at the beginning of the year. And in the middle part of the year, we have a parent-teacher conference for kids that are really, really struggling unless the parent asks for it, right? Well, I had a newbie teacher in that middle of the year. She's like, well, I'll just be with everybody. Now, granted, she had the smallest class size, but it was still, it's like, all right, you overachiever. And it's like, okay. But that lady, she did a lot to get noticed. She was brown nosing it up. PD. You generally want to soak in all the learning. They arrive at the PD with personalized teacher bag, hydro flask adorned with cute teacher stickers, and you're up in front. Is that you in the beginning, sir?
Maybe not the up in front, but I was like, okay, we're gonna learn all this stuff. It's gonna be good. It's like, oh, you've never done this ever. This is just a theory that people will work. Calm.
Here it says experienced teachers. We could teach the entire PD if we wanted. So instead of listening, we get out our laptop and start lesson planning or catch up on grading. And then the last sentence says, the principal doesn't say anything because they're secretly scared of some of their veteran teachers. Was you ever scared of some of your veteran teachers, or you're like, oh, whatever?
They probably know I don't know certain stuff.
Okay. Taking grading home for the weekend. Have a peppy teacher bag with a motivational saying, right? New teachers. I guess as your PE teacher, you probably don't have to work or worry about that too much, right? Good. Yeah. Hey, you want to guess? What this GIF is for experienced teachers? It's from a movie you and I have both seen. I'll give you a hint. I don't know you. You don't exist.
Hangover.
Do you remember that movie? Yeah, The Hangover.
Hangover, yeah.
Experienced teachers just walk out of school on a Friday with their lunch bag, a swagger, and a smile because we leave everything behind. I don't take stuff home. That's why I get to school early, and I'll stay a little late sometimes because I can't focus at home. Bladder control. New teachers actually have actual nightmares about the principal walking in when they urgently need to run to the bathroom. Did you ever have a nightmare that you had to go while you were teaching?
Not at all. No.
I was never scared of it either. Like here it says, experienced teachers either have like bladders made out of actual steel, or if you're like me, you figure out optimal times to go to the bathroom so you don't have to worry about it. I go to the bathroom even when I don't feel like today we had extended planning. I went when I kind of felt like I had to go because I'm like, you know what? Lunchtime's not going to be for about 2.5 hours. I don't want to be dancing, And last one, contract hours. New teachers basically live at school. The idea of contract hours is laughable when you watch sunrise and sunset. Was that you? Did you stay?
Yeah.
Obviously, I just told you I show up early. You stayed late.
Not me, but I knew a lot of people that were. I felt bad for them too.
Like, did you shake your head at them?
Like, sucks to be you.
Did you shake your head and be like,
I'm going home?
Yes, exactly. All right. So that's gonna wrap this episode up. Let me go ahead and do the socials. You can find us at Choey and Jan, Choey, the letter N, JAN on X and TikTok. If you want to look at Threads and Instagram, we're at Choey and Jan 2. CHOEY, the letter N, JANTOO. Facebook is Jandler Bing, and then Choey's and my favorite YouTube handle, which just somehow happened at Jandler Bing 969, right? So, little Bill and Ted there for us, right?
69 dudes.
Exactly. What number am I thinking of?
Which when you're
Anything
younger,
you want to
don't
add
realize
before
what
I
that
pull
is.
this? Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even understand. Like, I can't believe you asked your mom out to the prom. Wasn't that like she's your mom? Like he didn't know who she was, or his dad wasn't dating her at the time. He tried to like take her out. Shut up, Ted. Yeah, maybe that one. I don't know, dude. It's been a while. I'm butchering it. I'm butchering it. Anything you want to add before I call it and pull the plug?
Nah, that's it, sir. Yank that thing. Yank it.